Okay, here we go. Let me share my desktop so I don't forget. And let me open C++. There we go. I think Control N for new one. There we go. So an array there, if you, for example, let's say you have 10 scores you want to read, 10 values, or you want to read 10 names. You have to define name, string, name one, comma, name two, comma, name three, comma, name four, all the way to name 10. And what about if you want to read like 15 scores or 20 scores? Then you have to say integer or double, score one, comma, score two, comma, score three. So what you can do, you can avoid all of that if you define something as an array. An array, you gotta think about it. You can go horizontally or vertically, it doesn't really matter. Picture that that's called a 1D array. Be something like this. I'll call this scores, for example. And I can tell the machine I want that to be 50. If I told the machine I want you to create an array of double values called scores and 50 values, the machine actually will take 50 of these locations and put them aside for me. And the first one, if you want to refer to this one, that's score 0. If you want the last one, that scores 49. So you can take a whole block of them, and then the machine doesn't save them like this inside the computer. They are saved all over. But that's one way to visualize them. Some people like to look at them horizontally like this. And they go, this is score 0. And the last one scores 49. That's fine. But you move in one direction. You either move in this way or you're moving up and down. I look at them up and down and find it easier on my brain to visualize them as up and down. So how do we tell the machine we have an array? Take a block of them. So that's really what the topic here. I try to remember what I print my notes every class to see what we covered last time. So it looks like we did functions last time and a global variables. Is that what we did? Yep. Okay. That's what we did.
I thought you would go to enumerations because that was.
We did that last time. That's the video. Yep, the video I sent to you guys is enumeration. You know, we did color and we did freshman's, sophomore, and I forgot what we did. So the video I sent to you last time, that's enumeration. Yep. The one I just end up, I thought I lost it, but I didn't lose it. End up finding and send an email says, watch this video. And there's actually, sometimes for those video, they ask you for a password for it. The password is right under it, you know. So if you click on that link, if you can't find it, I can check my email and see if I still have them. And I can ship it again. Actually, under announcement. It's up under announcement. And also there was an email.
Okay.
Yep. So if you go to announcement, it should pop up immediately there. So again, this section will say introduction to arrays. And again, let me start the usual, any program, pound include IOStream. Oh. Using namespace standard. int main. I did actually use arrays. I mentioned them in the last example because for what I was doing there, I wanted to keep the values. curly bracket to open it, return 0, the usual stuff. Some people actually create something like this and they call that default. So anytime they want to start a new program, they go to default, open it, and save it as different name. So you don't have to write that every single time. Now, if you want to create an array, there's a couple of ways to create an array. You can create and assign values all in one step. So I'll do that here. Create an array and assign values to it. All in one step. If you want to do that, the way we do that, let's say, for example, I have names, string. Because the name's not going to be a double. It's not going to be integer. It's going to be some characters. String. And let's give the array a name. We'll call it names. And if you want to assign the value to it, and you start putting the names, like the first one is me. I'll go through my family. The next one, I'll put my wife there. I'll put my son, my daughter, and a few other people. Jason, I don't know. Blanca. Whatever. Oh, I forgot to put Blanca because a string always goes in double quotation. That's fine. So what the machine does now is actually takes a stack of arrays, and I'll see if I can draw them here. I'm trying to, because I know people watch me online, they don't see what I'm writing on the board. Let's see. Layout. I'm looking for, so I'll just put it on the board. Maybe I'll turn the computer toward the board. So what the machine is going to do now is actually it's going to take a block of these arrays there, or locations. How many locations we said? Let's say Z, Debbie. That's 6 of them. So it's going to take 6 locations. And the first one is going to have Z in it. Next one is Debbie, Joe, Jamie, Jason, and Blanca. That's it. And all this given one name is called names. Names. So if you want the machine to show us, let's say Blanca. I'll go type it here so we get to see it. So if I want to see Blanca, I'll go see out. And that location is which one? Names. If you said names, the machine doesn't know what you're talking about. If I leave it like this, I got a problem. Notice if I save it and run it, it doesn't know that. The machine can't print a stack of them. So today is what, the 23rd? March 23rd. Let's run it. I forgot actually one more thing here. I never told the machine that's an array. names. And the way you do that is you put a square bracket. That tells the machine that's an array. That's a block. It's not a single value. Notice I says see out names. And I don't see names. The machine can't read our mind. It says which name you want to print. So if I want to see my name, that's location 0. If I say show me what's in location 0, you're going to see my name. If I type in location 0, the first one's always 0, not 1. And notice you see Z right there. If I said, show me what's in location 5, that should be Blanca. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see Blanca there. If I said location 7, we don't have location 7. Save and run. And it got gibberish. Because there is no location 7.
Yeah.
So the first one's always location 0, and you got to specify which location. If you want to put the scores, for example, I said we have these are students, and scores are, let's say, what, integer value or decimal value, double, scores. That's an array. And here we go. Let's put the scores. I got a 50.5. Debbie got a 95. Got to be good to my wife and my kids. Otherwise, I won't hear the end of it. 98, 97. Jason got a 64. Blanca an 83. This actually will take an array, give it the name scores, and assign these values to them. So when you're looking at that in terms of the screen there, what you're going to see is there's going to be another array right next to this one, a block just like this one, right next to it. Six of them, and I got 50.5. And I think Debbie, I gave her 95. 98, something like this, 97, 64, and 85. And this is known as scores. If you want to see my score, that's in location 0. If you want to see Blanca's score, she's in location 5. You want to see my wife's score, Debbie's score, she's in location 1. Joseph is on location 2. Jamie, 3. And Jason, location 4. So you have to specify which location. So if I said, oh, I made a mistake with Blanca's score or Jason's score, I gave him a 64. That was a mistake. He really should have an 84. I can tell the machine, go ahead and adjust now. I can say let scores, and Jason is which location? He's in location 4. Is Jason 3 or 4? Jason's 4, yep. I can make it 85. Or let's say I want to give him 20 extra point. I can say whatever his score was, because I told Jason I'm going to give you 20 extra points. So whatever his score was, add to it 20 points. And that will take Jason's score, which is what? The 64, and add to it what? Add to it 20, which is what? 84. So if you want to see everyone's name and their scores, I can set up a loop here. I can say for, set up a loop, int I equals to 1. I is less than what? 6. I plus plus. And I can say C out, names I. Oh, names I. After that, put space there maybe, so they're not squished in. And let's put the scores. Scores I. Then go, and when you finish with that, go to the next line, and so you can do the next one. So that should print all 6 of them. And notice Jason has an 84 now, because we adjusted his score by, right there. We adjusted his score by 20 points. It went from 64 to 84. So just a quick example, that's how you assign. Normally, you read the values. Like, I don't know the scores. I might know the student's name, but I don't know the scores yet. So if you want to read the scores, so we said 2 ways. You can make an array and assign the value, or you can read the values to the array. So how do you read the values? So that's the first part, assigning values. So here we're going to read values. We're going to read values. Let's take an example. Let's say I want to create an array that will read the score of every student in the class. Well, we don't know how many students in the class, right? I mean, let's say a class like this one. I just want to give you a surprise quiz. I want to read the scores for you. I have no idea how many people are going to be here that morning when I come into the class. Some days I show up and there's 10 people. Other days there's 15. Some days there's 2 or 3. There's really no way to know for me. So I can't set it up to be like 50 students or 32 students every time. Yep. So maybe I'll ask for the class size. So int size. I'm going to ask for a class size. So here we go. I'll do while, curly bracket to open it. And it says C out. How many students in the class? Class today.
Wouldn't that be on the outside though? Because you only want to ask it once.
Well, what happens if you put the wrong value? Like I want to verify it, make sure the value. How many students in the class? See in that. And that's the size. I wanted to make sure you type in a good number. We know at STCC, for example, we don't have any class more than 40. Actually, 32 is the cap. Is union. So if I have 32 students in the class, you want to be in the class, they have to get permission from the faculty. So we don't have anything above 40. There's no way there's a class on campus that's more than 40. So I can put a while statement here, do while. This will validate I'm putting a good number. Here we go. There's my while statement. While what? Size, repeat this, is less than 0. You put a class size less than 0. or even equal to 0. If you put a class size of 0, you don't have a class. So why are you asking for the scores? Or size is more than 40. So if you put a value that's more than 40 or less than 0, it's going to ask you that question again. That's why I put inside the loop, Will, to validate the input. So when I run that, did I use capital S here? Looks like I use capital S here. Yep. How many students in the class? 50. That's not good. How many students in the class? 0. Nope. How many students in the class? 8. That's good now. So it's somewhere between 0 and 40. And if you want to let the person know that, you can put that here. Parentheses from 1 to 39. You know, so they know that's the class size. Put a number between 1 and 39. So once you exit this loop, that means you have the right size. You want to set up an array now to hold the scores? So now we're going to assign the array. And let's think about it. Could the score be decimal values? Well, it depends. Like I use some software sometimes to grade, and the software will give me decimal value. We'll say 16.5, 32.4, especially if the class has like the question has 3-4 parts to it. So instead of having 1, you get 0.25. So it really doesn't matter. So since it could be, I'll say it's double. And let's give the array a name. Class. That's the name of the array. And now we're going to tell them how big the array. Notice square bracket, that tells me that's an array. Inside that, I got to put the size. That tells the machine how many locations to put aside for me. So if I have 13 students, I'll put size 13. That'll create 13 locations for me. If I have a class of 39 students, going to create an array of size 39. So whatever the size is, that's how big my array is going to be. So I'm not locked into always to be 40, even if you have a class of 3 students. The teacher before me comes in on Tuesday. Actually, I hired this guy to teach a class for us Tuesday morning. His class has 3 people in it. He's in this room. Comes from UMass, teach a class for 3 people, you know. So I can't set mine to be 40 if his class is 3. He can type in 3 and he reads the scores. So now if you want to read the scores and load them, so this is actually to create the array. If you want to load the array now, I can set up a loop for that. I use I, so I'll use J just to be different. int J equals to 0. J is less than the size of the class. It's not going to be equal, because if it's 13 students, you start with 0, you go 0 to 13, that'll be 14. J plus plus. And I want it to be user-friendly, so as my curly bracket, I'm going to do 2 things. Cout. Enter the score for student. And I want to put the student number. Well, the student number, when we count, we don't go 0, 1, 2. You're the first one, you're student number 1. So J plus 1. The plus 1, so because we're starting with J being 0. So you're not going to be student 0, student 1, student 2. There is no student 0. We start always with 1, 2, 3, 4 when we count. So that's why I added the 1 to it. Then I want you to put colon there and space. And now I'm going to type in the score here. CN scores, what did I call it? Class of J. So that should load the array for me. So if I save this one and run it now, CN, oh, I don't have a semicolon here. Let's see how many students in the class. I go 3 students just to practice. Student 1, enter the score, 89. Enter the score for student 2, 92. Student number 3, 63. That's it. 3 students. Run it again. I said, how many students in the class? 7. Student 1, 78. 87. Student 3, 56. 96. 89 for student 5. Student 6, 78. We say we have 7 students, 1 more student, and that's 82. That's all of them. So if I hit enter, I'm done. So your class could be as big as you want to, as small as you want to. What's nice about saying enter the score for student 1, student 2, if you get distracted, if your phone rings halfway through entering the score and you're talking to somebody, hey, what's up? I'm in class now. I'll call you after. You know, you're talking to them, and then you look up and say, oh, where was I? You forget where you are. So if you have them numbers like this, student 1, student 2, student 3, you know which one you enter the score for. So this will allow me to enter all the scores. So let's say I want to find now the average for the class. There's only each of you has 1 score. I want to find the class average. So we just loaded the array. And now I didn't really validate to see if your score between 0 and 100. I could validate that, you know? You think we should validate that to make sure?
Yeah.
Does every teacher give a score between 0 and 100? If it is yes, we can validate that. We can do a do loop here. Do curly bracket to begin this. And close it here. If I'm going to do that, I need to do it differently. Let me define another location, double. Hold. That's going to hold the score for me. Cut. Control V. So instead of putting them directly into the array, because if the score is above that number, I don't want to put them into the array. I want it to go into hold. CN hold. Get the score and hold it. Now validate the score. While what? Oops. Curly bracket to close it. While hold is less than 0, or hold is greater than 100. If you type a value more than 100 or less than 0, that's not good. Repeat that. Keep asking until you type that score. Once we know the score is actually good, now you want to save it. Class I equals what's in hold, if you want to validate them. Oh, class J, I guess I'm not using I here, J. Equals what's in hold. So that should allow me to read all the scores and validate them. Let's check that to see if it's doing what it's supposed to do. How many students in the class? 4. The first one got an 89. That's good. Second student, let's say my fat finger hit 70, 99. I want to say 79, hit 799. Notice it's still there. So student number 2. What's the score for student number 2? 850. Nope. A minus 15. Nope. 76. That's good. We go to student number 3, 87. Student number 4, 105. Nope. 100. That's good. And a reason. So validate each score for me. Again, a lot of times we make the assumption the person actually entering the score is going to put in a good number. And they will probably 90% of the time. Sometimes, again, I've done that many times. My fingers will hit 2 keys at the same time. I got to put 85 instead of the 8 and the 5. When I go to hit the 5, I hit the 5 and 6 in between them. So it goes 856. This one actually tells me, no, that's not the right one. I'm not saving it till I know the score is good. So notice I'm putting a location called hold as I'm reading the score to make sure it's good. Once the score is good, I'll put it in. So this will actually load the array. Now this section here, we're going to calculate the class average. Calculate the class average. So I'm going to be adding this course. Let me have double. Let me create. We'll call sum is going to add all the scores, set it equal to 0. For int, I can use k if you want to. K equals to 0. K is less than size. Oh. Semicolon k plus plus. I could use I for all of them, by the way. I could have used J for all of them. I just try to change the names. I get bored after a while. We want sum to equal sum plus class K. That's going to add all the scores for me. Even if you have 1,000 students, that program doesn't change. That's going to add all the scores. And when you're done adding them, to find the average, double average equals the sum divided by the size. And you want to print that? Cout the class average is, and now let's print the average. And go to the next line. that will calculate the average and print the class average. How many students in the class? 8. 77, 87, 93, 95, whatever, 93, 64, 50, 60. Oh, notice my fat finger hit 5, 6, 7 instead of 56. I'll go 56. It repeats that. 76, 80. Oh, 876. I didn't see that. It's supposed to be 87. And it says, okay, the class average is 79.375. If I want to go back, like check to see if the average below 75, go give each one 5 points, I can. But that's what arrays are good for. If actually didn't use an array here, and I know I have 8 students, that means I have to have double S1, comma, S2, comma, S3, comma, S4, all the way to 8. And when you read that, instead of that statement here, instead of this, you're going to write, enter the score for student S1, then copy and paste that 8 more times if you have 8 students. Does not make any sense. That's the beauty of actually arrays and loops there. Notice I can run this. It says how many students? I got 32 students. I'm going to regret this. There we go. 33, 44, 55, 67, 78, 89, 90. Oh, God. I wasn't hitting enter. 33. There we go. 34, 56, 78, 89, 90, 87, 76, 65, 64, 93, 92, 81. I'm at 14 now. Somebody got a 19, 69, 78, I don't know, 79, 87, 76, 58, 45. Getting closer. Well, a few more. 3 more. I think that's the last one. And here we go. The class average is 69.0625. Doesn't matter how big my class. I could be a UMass. What's the class size? 500. And take them all. That will read them all and load them. You don't have to change the program. So that's really introduction to arrays. I'll do more of them next time. Maybe I'll read the values from a file. Instead of me typing the values, I'll use a file to read the values and store them there. Like if I have an Excel sheet, it has your names, your scores on it. I want to calculate the average for you, for all the assignments, the class average for each one. I don't want to retype all the scores. Can I just read them? I can read them from a file and do some calculation, So I'll do that next time. On Wednesday, actually, I'll do that. So Wednesday's class, I'm going to create an array for any class size. Store the values in the array, maybe. Calculate the class average. And maybe I'll sometimes what I do, if the average is below 75, says go back, give each one 5 points. So I'll do that, So I'll do more with arrays. The assignment for arrays is not due till April 4th. So I'll be doing this week, probably next week, 1D and 2D array. Notice I'm traveling in one direction. That's called one DRA. I could travel in both directions. That'll be two DRA.
You have examples of past capstone projects that you could show us?
No, actually, this is the first time we're doing the capstone.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So you guys, the first group. So then I'll use you next year forever. Yep. The way we do things here is we find out what UMass is doing, and we trying to copy what UMass does. So when people transfer to UMass, you're not behind. So they start to do that, just like we switched from Java. We used to offer Java till last year. Now we're doing Python because UMass switched to Python.
Good.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. Whatever, when the four-year college says we want this, we just go and do it. We're already doing Python this year. So
That's for the computer science.
yeah. This C++, if you're an engineer, mechanical, civil engineering, industrial engineering, you need C++. All the equipment they still use out there in the factory are older equipment. They use C or C++. Computer science, you can use this class as an elective,
Is there much difference between C and C++?
Between C and C++. Few changes, but not a lot. There's really not much of a difference.
Just like the
Well, there's more pieces, more addition, correct, yeah. Just like there's not much of a difference between C++ and Python or Java. They all have the same thing in them, every single thing.
Don't they call C++ C with classes?
Yep.
Not with the-
So, and you say, what's the difference in between them? The way like the for statement is set up, the way function, we don't call them function in Java, we call them methods,
A lot of memory management too.
Yeah. Yeah, is do C#, which is you don't even do any programming C#. You just put the shapes on the screen, all that, and you drag and drop, and everything looks like professional there. So
Just like so many.
yep.
Yeah.
But once you know one, once you feel you really mastered one, you can pick the other ones. You're not going to be going to school every time they come up with a new language. You'll go broke, paying for these classes. But they're really the same thing once you get the hang of it.
I thought I've heard like Python was really valuable in engineering, but I made a mistake in that.
Well, Python is like because all the new schools now, not the new schools, all the schools use Python, but Python, Java, they all do the same thing, But if you want to transfer to UMass, because they teach some of the upper classes, write a program in Python. So if you don't have Python, we have some students who took Java and went to UMass and they did fine. They learned Python in about 2 weeks.
So they teach Python there
Yeah, UMass does Python
for engineering?
for engineers now, for electrical engineering. Electrical engineering, they should take Python or it used to be Java. Now it's Python for electrical, But once you know one language, you fly through it. If you don't have it, you can really sit there because the project you're going to be doing, someone said, okay, we're going to use Python for this. We're going to use MATLAB for this. Yeah, MATLAB CSC 101 here. 100. We did MATLAB last year. MATLAB is a giant calculator. That's really what MATLAB is. And does graph. Huh?
The sister software,
Yep.
Simulink.
Yep. So now you add that to it, that's a different story. Yep. But MATLAB itself, it's like a piece of Mathematica.
Oh, well.
Yeah, Mathematica is, we used to offer Mathematica here. It does the same thing as MATLAB. You can do graph, you can do all the calculations, but the license for Mathematica is really big, so we stopped with that.
Even Maple is expensive.
That's what we like. These programs are freebie. Eclipse, you can do, by the way, C++ for Eclipse. Some of you has it, I think. I use the bloodshed this one here, but Eclipse does the same thing. I use it for Java. Any questions? I have to go to a meeting every Monday, Wednesday. We have that hour in between.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's all right, no?
About the capstone though, is there gonna be more information coming out or what you have there is?
That's really